Hi there, this is Jen, and thanks for joining me today. Today I am creating a card using the Stamp and Die set Reindeer Games. This is one of my very favorite stamps from Dare to be Artsy, and a while back I made a slimline card, and today I'm going to make a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card using the reindeer, and he is just so adorable, and I love him because whenever I look at him or any card that anybody has made with this stamp set, it just makes me smile. He is so cute with his little tongue sticking out. So I'll be using that stamp set. I will also be using this wavy die, and this is called a wavy slimline framelit die, and it is a slimline die, but it can also be used on a smaller card size. So I'm going to be watercoloring with some brush markers today, and so I am inking this up in some pigment ink, some black pigment ink. And so I stamped up the reindeer and his feet and a couple of the ornaments. And since I'm doing watercoloring, I am using a piece of Bristol smooth cardstock. And the colors that I'm using for the reindeer are oatmeal, beige, and then for the antlers and some of the ears, I'm using a brown. And so what I like to do when I'm using brush markers to watercolor is I like outlining the outsides of the image, especially the face, and then using a wet brush to pull some of that color in towards the center while leaving a little bit of definition in that original line so that it looks like a shadow. But I do color all of the image and then go back over with a second coat. So I colored the reindeer face first with the beige, and then I'm going back in right now and coloring in with the opal and doing the same thing, just pulling that color in just to give the face a little bit more definition. And I did the same on the antlers. I just colored that first coat of brown, and then I'll go back in with the brown again and add a little bit more depth and definition to those antlers. And a lot of times when I watercolor, I go back in with the colored pencils afterwards. I think it adds just as something a little bit extra. It can add a little bit more definition. It can correct mistakes. So a lot of times when I'm watercoloring, if I mess up on something, I'm always in the back of my mind thinking, well, I can just go back in with a colored pencil and fix that. And so I think it adds something extra. And so I really love using those. And once I have my image all colored up, I'm going to take the coordinating die set and die cut all of my images out. What I ended up doing with the ornaments is I like the bulb ornament, so I colored a few more of those up and used the dies to cut that out. And so I have 3 ornaments and then the holly that I will be using on the card. And then I'm just making a little sign for the reindeer to hold, and the sentiment says, let's get blitzed. And so I did the let's get in some black ink and then blue ink for the, or blitzened, not blitzed. Let's get blitzened. Woo! And then for my background, I'm using a piece of pattern paper with that wavy die, and the pattern paper is from a collection called Snow Much Fun. And then I also used another piece of paper from that collection, that darker blue or the teal, to make a frame around the card. And so I'm just going to take my tape runner and add that to this wavy paper piece. And then I'm going to attach that at the very bottom of my card panel. I also created some snowflakes. The die set has a little snowflake, and so I went ahead and cut that out on some white cardstock 5 times, and I will be adding those to my background. And so once I have that piece adhered, I just use my paper trimmer to cut the sides off. And then I'm going to use some liquid adhesive to attach that darker teal frame. And then I am taking the snowflakes and I will be putting those in the background, and I am adhering those with my tape runner as well. And then I use some liquid adhesive to adhere the entire panel to my 4 1/4 by 5.5 card white card base. And here I'm just marking where I want my reindeer to set, because I am putting that sign on. I wanted to make sure that everything was going to fit, and so when I adhere that reindeer down, I know I can just set it on that line and I'm good to go. And I didn't adhere the reindeer antlers flat, so I did want them to pop up a little bit. If I am going to mail this, I probably will add a little bit of foam to the back just to make sure that it does not flatten out when I mail it out. But for now, I just left them kind of sticking up by themselves. And then I'm taking the little sign that says "Let's get Blitzened," and I'm adding the reindeer feet. So it's going to look like he's kind of leaning on that sign. And I'm going to adhere the sign flat as well. So I'm just taking some liquid adhesive and adding that sign to the card. And then I'm just going to put a stamp block on to let that dry. And then the little ornaments, they have, when the die cuts them out, they have a little bit of space where you can draw on a string for the ornament. I didn't end up doing that. What I did was, it was really helpful actually to have that, because it allowed the ornament to kind of hang off the antlers. And then I just adhered the remaining ornaments. I also adhered the holly to the top of his hat, and that will finish off this card. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope this card made you smile. If you liked this video or found it informative, please go ahead and give a thumbs up. As always, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to spend with me, and I will catch you next time.